Welcome back to The Wandering Screen. I'm Matt Koss, and today I'm looking at one of my favorite films of the year, The Secret Agent. So let's jump in. The Secret Agent won 4 awards at Cannes this year, and after I saw it, I immediately thought, oh my god, I can't wait for more people to see this. This is the new film from Brazilian director Kleber Mendonça Filho, who made Bacurau and Aquarius, and it stars Wagner Moura in what might be his best performance yet. It's political, it's personal, and it's this hypnotic portrait of Brazil in 1977, a country that was bursting with life and colour and paranoia, not dissimilar to how it was presented last year in Walter Salazar's Oscar winner I'm Still Here, starring Fernando Torres. It's one of those movies that just grabs you from the first frame, and it keeps unfolding in these fascinating, unexpected ways. Now, The Secret Agent runs 2 hours and 40 minutes, but I swear it never feels slow. It's the kind of film that takes its time, builds tension through detail, and rewards you for paying attention. The story begins during Carnival week. We meet Marcelo, played by Wagner Moura, who you know from Narcos and last year's Civil War co-starring Kirsten Dunst. He plays a widower who arrives in Recife. He's not here for a party, he's here to disappear. He's a man on the run trying to stay alive in a country ruled by corruption, informants, and a government that doesn't forgive. There's this fantastic opening scene where Marcelo pulls into a gas station in the middle of nowhere. There's a dead body on the ground, cops show up, and the tension is immediate and thick. You can just feel the danger in the air, and not from what's being said, but from what's not. And that's what Filho does so well. He builds suspense through silence and observation. The Brazil of this film feels alive, but also dangerous. You can almost smell the gasoline and the cigarettes and the sweat of the crowd. It's chaotic, but in that chaos, there's rhythm. You understand instantly that Marcelo can't trust anyone, not the police, not his co-workers, not even the people trying to help him. It also feels so immersive in the 70s that you could easily be watching a film from that period with the grainy quality and period sets. And the story gets real interesting. Marcelo's been placed in a kind of underground witness protection network, but it's not an official program. It's run by regular people trying to help others escape the regime. They get him in a job at an identification bureau, set him up with housing, and tell him to keep his head down. But every step of the way, the film shows you just how impossible that is. Filho doesn't spoon-feed the story. He lets it unfold through texture and atmosphere. Every scene reveals a new detail, a new puzzle piece, until you start to see the full picture of why Marcelo is on the run and what he's really running from. And it's exactly why the 2 hours and 40 minutes fly by. One of my favorite things about the movie is how it plays with time. Every so often we cut to present day Brazil, where 2 university students are listening to old cassette tapes of Marcelo's story. And these recordings are basically the only record of what happened. And as they play, the girls pause and rewind, trying to fill in the blanks. And it's such a clever storytelling device because it reminds you how fragile memory is, how easily truth can be lost or distorted over time. You also realize how much history is just missing. And there's a beautiful parallel between those recordings and Marcelo's own search for his mother's old identification file at the bureau where he works. Both are fragments of a life, pieces of evidence that someone existed, that their story mattered. That theme of memory and legacy runs through the whole film, and it's handled so delicately. Wagner Moura gives one of those performances that just commands your attention. He's got this quiet charisma. You can see his fear and fatigue, but also his intelligence. He's constantly thinking, constantly calculating. Moura doesn't overplay anything, particularly in a scene in the workplace where someone uses his real name and his body stiffens and his intent not to reveal his identity. And you get the sense that Marcelo's been living on the edge for so long, he's forgotten what safety feels like. This is an Oscar-worthy performance. There's also a great supporting performance from Maria Candida, who's Elsa, a woman who's part of an underground resistance and one of the few people he can actually trust. There's a scene where they meet in the back of Marcelo's father-in-law's cinema planning his escape, and it's filmed with this incredible intimacy, the lighting, the sound, the tension between them, the cuts back and forth to the present day recordings and back again. It's really fascinating filmmaking. And the cinematography has this filmic texture that makes it look like it really was shot in the 70s. The camera lingers on faces, on crowds, on tiny details that make the world feel authentic. And there's this incredible attention to period detail. The production design, the costuming, the sound of radios and old televisions, it's immersive without ever feeling forced. And one of my favorite touches is how the movie uses Jaws as a cultural marker. It's 1977, Jaws has just hit Brazil and everyone's obsessed. And there's a scene where a severed leg is found in the belly of a shark. And the local cinema re-releases Jaws to capitalize on the story, instilling fear in the community. And it's this brilliant, funny little commentary on how pop culture and fear get recycled, and it gives the story such a vivid sense of time and place. And yeah, 2 hours and 40 minutes is a lot to ask of any audience, and I definitely felt my bladder protesting by the end. I was busting, but honestly, I didn't care. I could have wet myself. I was completely absorbed. The back half of this film is scene after scene unraveling more and more details, and it's impossible to miss. If you enjoyed one battle after another, go see The Secret Agent. That's another thing. The side characters also in the movie are fantastic. The corrupt cops, the bounty hunters, the people in Marcelo's apartment complex, they all feel lived in, and the bounty hunters especially are callously cold-blooded. They're not just there to move the plot forward, they feel like people who have had entire lives before we meet them. The editing is also excellent. Filio and his team find this perfect rhythm between tension and release. You never feel like you're ahead of the story, but you're never lost either. It's patient storytelling, but it's never boring. By the end of the film, I was genuinely moved. The Secret Agent isn't a thriller in the traditional sense. What really stayed with me was that mix of danger and beauty. The feeling that life keeps going even when everything around you is falling apart. The Secret Agent is one of the best films of the year. It's the kind of movie that reminds you why world cinema is so essential. You don't need a superhero, a multiverse, or $1 billion budget to tell a story that hits you in the chest. You just need a filmmaker with something to say and the craft to pull it off. So, if you get a chance to see this one, do it. Don't wait for streaming, don't multitask while scrolling on your phone. Sit with it, let it wash all over you, and appreciate the kind of cinema that still takes its time to tell a story worth hearing. You've made it to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe for all the latest film reviews this award season. Have you seen The Secret Agent yet? Let me know in the comments section below your thoughts, and see you next time.